Hello everyone. This is Nick Situni from Next Gen Daycare. Today with her, Samantha Walton, the center director here. And we are here to bring information for all of you parents in a topic that some of you might think it's a little too obvious, but let's be honest, it doesn't hurt even just to validate your thoughts. So Sam, let's talk about potty training. Why do you think it's important for parents to train their kids in how to use a potty?
It's important because it gives their child a little bit more independence and a little bit more autonomy over their own body.
There we go. So the whole perspective of training, regardless if it's going to be in a daycare facility or at your own home, is to give, as Sam mentioned, the autonomy. It's usually, especially when we're getting into the 3 to 4 year old range, one of what childcare overall here in Alberta tries to do is to bring and give children autonomy over their bodies, to give them a little bit of more independence, right?
Yes.
So, and potty training allows not only you parent to be a little bit away from those responsibilities, but you also stimulate children to do something on their own, which, let's be honest here, it brings a lot of a sense of accomplishment for children and for you as a trainer as well, right? So, in terms of age group, when should parents start? What's your thoughts on that, Sam?
Most of the time, a child will start to show that they're ready to be potty trained, and it's important for parents to notice that these things are happening. So sometimes they'll start to take off their own diaper, or they're able to pull off their own pants or underwear to be able to get to that point. Those are things where parents should be paying attention, because that means that their child is officially done wearing a diaper all the time.
Not comfortable at that time.
No, they don't want to sit in wetness all the time anymore.
Okay. And again, theoretically, there's children and children, right? And parents, of course. Ideally, they should be able to do their own necessities when nature calls. About what, 3, 4?
I would say the average age is about 3 to be potty trained. Sometimes that means overnight, sometimes that doesn't mean overnight, but usually throughout the day they are now able to indicate that they need to use the washroom.
There we go. Now let's talk about daycare setting. And again, of course, you're going to be using Next Gen here as an example, but I'm assuming that's going to be good for most daycares out there. What is the role of the educators in a center in order to help children with their potty training?
So from when I've been doing it for a while now, it's really easy for a parent to come in and let us know that they've already started to pre-potty train their child, like they're starting at home. And then that way there's certain words that children know to use, like the obvious would be pee or poo, to be able to say that they need to use the washroom. For me, it shows when a child is able to walk into a corner, that would probably be a good time to scoop them up and get them over to the toilet so they can perform their business on the potty.
Beautiful. So there might be a little bit of misconceptions, especially for first-time parents out there, right? Do we just get a child and put in an adult-sized toilet and let them do their business there?
No, we definitely have step stools and potty seats that will go on top that usually help make a child feel a little bit more comfortable in the situation. And if they're really not ready, then that's not anything that we push, because then everything just goes backwards. So it's easier to go with the child's lead in it and just be, firm with regulating when they're going to go. So if you know that they go to the washroom at a certain time, be on top of that for about 5 to 10 minutes before. And then that way it's an easier transition for them to go to the washroom.
So I heard some parents back in the day talking about the whole idea of at least trying to create that routine where, oh, it's 10 a.m. Let's get my child and put it on a potty and wait for 5 minutes just so we see if it's going to happen or not. Is that a good practice, you think?
I do think it is a good practice. I've known some parents where they will do it in about half-an-hour intervals, especially if the child is at home, because it's an easier scenario to be able to stop what you're doing and place them on the potty. But if these are things that we are aware of as staff and caregivers, we can still follow those guidelines that parents have set at home, even if it is half an hour. We can make sure that happens.
Beautiful. Now, tips and tricks. I've heard from a parent a long time ago that every time the child was doing potty training, the mom, in that case, was actually singing songs to get the child going. Is that something that you would recommend as well?
Singing songs is definitely a huge thing. Having an exaggerated behavior. So if they go to the washroom, you make a really big deal about it, even if it's just a little bit. You make a whole scene about them using the washroom. You become very supportive. And then you just keep going through routines. So as soon as they're done, you get them to flush so that they are doing these things on their own, and then you make sure that they wash their hands.
Perfect. Now, finalizing the whole thing, do you think children will be showing any signs that they are ready to go for, mom, dad, I don't need help anymore? Or it's going to be something that parents will just slowly letting go until the child is 100% independent?
Unfortunately, in that way, there's going to be a 50-50 because the child will definitely feel that they are able to do a lot on their own, where sometimes they might not be able to reach the taps or reach the soap, and they still need a little bit of help. You let them do as much as they can on their own, and you give them as much as you can. So if you notice the soap's a little too far back, you pull it forward for them so that they can do those things on their own. You try and let them do as much as they can, but then just be there for support.
Beautiful. And again, I love social media as the next person, and I've seen a lot of videos where there's some parents, and I really recommend those parents for, creating a whole environment in their washroom, or like a child-size washroom as a size child kitchen, for example, just for the sake of play and stuff. And that's everyone's, you need to find your own sweet spot in there. Those things cost money, of course. I don't think any parent should be forced, right? Like, oh, I want to create this beautiful $50,000 children bathroom. And then again, that's only going to help you so far because, of course, I'm assuming children will have to evolve into using regular toilets, going into regular washroom. So spending too much money for those things, it doesn't help. As a matter of fact, unless you have the money to spend it, it might hurt you financially. And of course, constructions are never easy or fun to do. Right?
And usually simpler is best. So the less things that you have around you to distract the child, the better. So if you just have a step stool to make sure they can get up to the toilet, you have your potty seat, you're usually pretty good to go after that.
Now, when purchasing some of the toilet seats for children, when we purchased here for Next Gen, Sam told me, get something about cartoons that is decorated, because children tend to like those best, and that's exactly what we did, right? And funny enough, the children here, of course, love it. So you don't need to go all fancy with the, the gizmos and the sounds. Those are extras, of course, and if you can afford it, why not? But do you think that sometimes children can be distracted by all the multi-functionalities of it instead of focusing at the matter of hand?
100%. Very much so. And if you have someone with you, so as a caregiver, we will sit with the children and just kind of give them a little bit of space and talk with them through what they're doing at the moment. And that usually helps quite a bit when you're using the real words and the right ways to describe what their body is doing in the moment. They have a better understanding of what they are then doing and what they are able to control on their own.
There you go, folks. Whether if it's you who's helping your children or a family member to do their business, it's important to give them the independence to do so, to be supportive, and to give them the necessary tools so they can start doing on their own. And this is Nick from Next Gen Educare, and I'll see you in the next video.